All right, today's video is a pretty big departure from normal, honestly, but I did a thing, that thing caused another thing, and the resulting absurdity of it all has become a perfect jumping off point to talk about the absolute clown world ridiculousness of headline culture, which seems to be the actual method by which most people browse the internet now. It never used to be this way, at least not when I was growing up, but the modus operandi, so it seems, is to read something, reacting only to the headline with as much emotional outrage as you can possibly muster and then try to use that headline as a method of advancing whatever cause it is you find personally appealing without any further context or fact checking whatsoever. I should be more precise here. It's not just that there's a lack of fact checking, it's that there is a total lack of basic cognition, and we all know it's happening. We're all passively disappointed by it probably every single day on some level or another. But for my part, I rarely have such an extreme example presented with such brilliant clarity, plastered across the internet for all to see that was kind of sort of my fault, or I was at least partially responsible for. Here's the story. Less than a week ago, I made a video. That video discussed the concept of video game publishers exploiting a current legal environment where game preservation laws don't really exist at all, and the resulting disappointment that is becoming more and more normalized where they will delete or otherwise restrict access to video games that people have paid for. The video itself was inspired by Ross over at Accursed Farms, excellent creator, definitely go check him out, who has put in a tremendous amount of effort to find actual methods of fighting back against this, and it's centered on the idea that if people are willing to take action, we might be able to do something about this problem and spur governments to craft intervening legislation, thereby preventing games from being sold as a product and then discontinued forever as if they're a service. All in all, I was pretty happy with that video. Ross did an incredible job making those actions possible. He continues to advocate on the subject even now. And the feedback was excellent overall, but that's not where the story ends. No. That's just the beginning. See, over the years, here and there, I've had people react to the videos that I post. I love when that happens. It's fun for me to see their opinions. I get exposure to a new audience, and it makes me think about things differently at times, once in a while. I love it. I really do. However, the reaction to this particular video caused a bit of a problem. Asmongold, my sympathies to him here, the level of bullshit he has to deal with from people online is legitimately completely absurd. Asmongold decided to react to that video, subsequently kicking off one of the most obvious examples I've ever seen of people being brain dead. And here's why. Ross's original call to action was titled "The Largest Campaign Ever to Stop Publishers Destroying Games." My take on it was called "They're Destroying Your Games, Don't Let Them." In hindsight, I suppose I could have said "Publishers are destroying your games, don't let them," but it didn't seem quite as snappy. I clickbaited a tiny bit on that. The ambiguity of "they" felt like it might get more people to watch so they could find out who I'm talking about. And Asmongold's video after that was just "They're destroying our games." I should add here, this is very important, that within the first 23 seconds of the video, I precisely clarified that I'm talking about publishers. The video had nothing to do with current political controversies, and that this was a literal usage of the word destruction, not some sort of overinflated exaggeration. Sure, the title was grabby, but I don't make people wait till the end or leave them wondering what it is they're even watching. I tell them straight up right away, and I make it clear, which happened in the first, again, 23 seconds. But not only that, Asmongold's reaction video included that very same clarity also in the first 23 seconds. If you watched either of these videos for less than half a minute, you would know exactly who they are, and far more importantly, you would know that none of this had a single thing to do with modern politics. None at all. Because it's all about the functionality of video games. It sounds straightforward, right? Watch a video for under 30 seconds and you'll know what it's generally about. Easy. Even if you don't know the full scope of what it contains in a more detailed way. That's not too much to expect, right? Wrong. Apparently that's way more than can be expected from people these days, because after that video goes live, Asmongold's reaction, which had a truncated version of my title, which itself had a slightly truncated and more ambiguous version of Ross's title, the circus got started. Here's an example of a Reddit thread with 4.7 thousand upvotes. If you don't know how Reddit works, that means 4.7 thousand people amplified this beyond the number that downvoted it for being completely wrong, which popped up, even rising as high as one of the most popular posts from the entire week, where the person snarkily asks, "Are they in the room with us right now?" The tagline matters because it indicates that the person making the post thinks this is somehow political, and then thousands of people jump on board, dogpiling Asmongold as some sort of idiot who has the wrong politics and it's different than them. But even further, the mods of this particular subreddit start banning people who try to clarify that no, that's wrong, and if you spent just 23 seconds of time listening, you would hear it laid out perfectly. Now, I know what you're thinking. Reddit is a ridiculous place with ridiculous people who very often congregate together and say ridiculous things at times. But no, this isn't the only example. It's one example of many, and it's actually the smallest example. Jumping over to Twitter, there is a viral post with over 1 million views and counting and 30,000 likes saying the exact same thing. Further down, the initial poster even admits, quote, "Oh, so the they is actually in the room with us. Hope he is clear enough with his audience about it so people don't wink it off like we know what you really mean," end quote. This is a viral post with hundreds of comments degrading, insulting, or demeaning Asmongold over things that they literally just made up in their own head. They think he must have said horrible things because the title made their brain think he disagrees with my politics, and the resulting display of headline news culture is about as embarrassing as it can possibly get. But wait, there's more. See, these are people that disagree with Asmongold or have predisposed negative opinions of him. These are very weak people, in my opinion, with very low critical thinking skills who jump to conclusions because they're determined to be outraged over whatever they possibly can, even so far as to just manufacture things in their own head. But that's not the only type of person who engages in this type of idiocy. This is Mark Kern, aka grummz. Grummz has been very aggressively leaning into the whole Gamergate 2 type situation where DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, are under scrutiny right now, and he's been utilizing that wave of publicity to amplify his own projects and ride the social wave as far as he possibly can. grummz is about as far away as you can get from the previous examples, but let me expand on that just a little bit for people who don't fully understand. The person who posted the viral Twitter thread, whose screen name is Terminally Online Leftist, the one that didn't even listen to the first 23 seconds of audio, which would have informed them quite easily that their entire presumptive premise was completely wrong, has a YouTube channel where they've posted multiple different pieces of content defending a company called Sweet Baby Incorporated and debunking misinformation, which is pretty straightforward. Inversely, grummz, or Mark Kern, has been relentlessly criticizing Sweet Baby Incorporated, as well as other community managers and game dev companies, among many other individuals, very often saying things that go on to be regarded as controversial, where people complain or try to debunk them, and the cycle continues. People like grummz decide to say things, people like Terminally Online Leftists disagree with them, and vice versa, that also happens. Around and around it goes. Simple stuff. Well, Terminally Online Leftist, without watching even 23 seconds of content to know that they are totally and completely wrong, makes a post which goes viral because all the other brain dead morons who never read past the headline decide to smash the like button. But grummz, the complete opposite side of the political spectrum here, decided to make a thread, a very long thread, mind you, and pin it to the top of his profile, which is based on the very same false premise. His thread is completely about DEI in games and ESG scores and other politically motivated topics, with Asmongold's face plastered to the top of it, when that wasn't even the subject of the video because he saw his opponent completely getting the facts wrong, since they can't even watch 23 seconds of content to verify anything, and then turned around using the exact same thing that his opponent failed to understand as if it supports the point he's trying to make, because these people are so lazy and shallow they can't even be bothered to spend 23 seconds of their time, not a single one of them, checking whether or not their assumptions are right about something. Think about this. Genuinely think about it. A video about publishers destroying video games comes out. Another creator does their own analysis and tries to raise awareness for a quality topic. Another creator after that reacts to it and adds their own opinion. And suddenly, the political brainlets have a meltdown. They don't watch any of it. They just assume, ugh, I don't like him. He must be saying things I disagree with. So they rant about it on social media. Then their opponents jump in, don't even go back to the original source material at all to verify anything, and just pile on board thinking, well, those people hate it, so it must be agreeing with me. When the entire situation from start to finish had nothing to do with politics in the first place. The level of incompetence here is staggering. Two different sides of a polarized and politically opposite discussion took a thing that had nothing to do with either of them, or the things that they cared about, and then ran with it as fast as they could because headline culture is out of control, and none of them are displaying even the most basic level of independent thought. They should all be extremely embarrassed right now and rethink how they interact with the online world, or better yet, just remove themselves from it. Because we're not just talking about being lazy here, we're talking about being mindless, social media browsing zombies who present no discernible signs of human intelligence whatsoever or critical thinking. do better. That's it. If you want to support the content of someone who does take at least 23 seconds to watch or read the material that he comments on, Locals and Patreon are linked down below. Also a VPN affiliate if you want one of those, special deal and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.